was, yes.
Perfect. So thank you to those of you coming to us from Eventbrite. We are Alma La Vida. We are a life, health and wellness, leadership and career coaching company. And my name is Justice. I am a relationship strategist on the team. And what that means is during our time, you will book a half-hour complimentary conversation with me. And during that time, we will discuss your current situation, your goals, and really just some obstacles and things that are in the way of you achieving those. And during that time, I'll kind of make a recommendation of a coach or coaches that I think will be most appropriately suited to help you accomplish those based on their particular backgrounds, personalities, and skill sets. So with that being said, if anybody has anything pressing that they would like to get off of their mind, I'm going to drop my calendar link, and it is first come, first serve. And to those of you that come to us from an event, you do get your first session free. So something to consider as you're looking to budgeting everything for your coaching. But with that being said, today, here's a quick little agenda of how this is going to work. We're going to do introductions and then a little bit of logistics of how this is going to work so everyone's aware. And then we'll jump into the actual coaching event. And just give me 1 second. So we are Alma La Vida, as I mentioned, and those are our two co-founders, Nicole and Forum. And so this is how this one is going to work. So we're going to ask you to raise your hand in Zoom, and then I will call on someone one-on-one to speak with Cindy. I'm going to spotlight it. So you'll be your face and hers, just so you can get a real sense of what a coaching session is actually going to be like. So if you're comfortable, we would ask that you come off of camera to ask your questions. If not, you can still just unmute yourself and ask them. Or if you want to write them in the chat, we will get to those at the end. But we're going to take first come people that want to engage one-on-one with Cindy directly. And then as I mentioned, this is recorded, so it will be posted on YouTube and sent out. But with that being said, we have Cindy here with us today. And then Cindy, do you want to give us a little bit of a background about you and the type of coaching you like to do?
I would love to. So I am a life coach, and I am a little different than some of the other coaches. I'm not someone who does the tactical in terms of career, like resume, LinkedIn, etc. I focus on every area of life. So relationship, health and wellness, how to achieve optimal well-being, finances, career in the sense of what are your true passions, just everything about life that you can imagine. I love to work with people on. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, actually. I had a business in Chicago prior to that, so I have a business background and a coaching background. And I also have written 2 personal growth books, one on self-love, which really helps achieve your goals, and one on transcending any challenges. And I love to work with people on transitions in their life and life challenges. So that is a little bit about me, Justice. But welcome, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the introduction, Cindy. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to spotlight you. And if anyone has questions, the floor is now yours. Feel free to raise your hand and I will spotlight you next to Cindy and we can get this life coaching hour started. But with that being said, the floor is open to anybody who has a question.
I have a question. Let me come off. There I am.
Oh,
wonderful. Okay. What is your first name? I can't
Liz.
quite. Liz. Hi, Liz. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Sounds like you're living what I really want to do. And I'm newer in the coaching sphere, started about 1.5 years. And the message I've been hearing is, oh, you need to niche down. You need to niche down. But my heart is like, I just want to help people, like you said, especially women to transition, right. Like middle age, and you go through and rediscover yourself and who you are. And it's so hard for me just to pigeonhole one problem to solve. What can you share with me about that?
What I suggest? Okay, first of all, it sounds like you have a passion for coaching, which is exciting. And I don't know if you've gone through any certification program or training. Have you done that as well?
Yes, I did an asynchronous on transition coaching.
Oh, that's
and then I'm board certified with the National Health and Wellness.
Right,
certification.
right.
So
You know, what comes to me first is life coaching can cover a broad array of things. So in calling yourself a life coach, but having that niche. So what I heard you say was the transitions in life, and there's so many. There's
yes,
transitions, right?
yes.
Yes. So that could be your sweet spot, but stay open to other areas of life coaching because you said you don't want to really pigeonhole yourself. And I don't think you have to. What are your favorite areas to coach about?
Oh, well, I believe we coach ourselves. And there are a couple of things. One basically is how I've stepped out of a long term career to follow my passion to actually do coaching and to help. And so it's like a completely different feel for me. And I believe that there are other women like myself who feel they have more to offer and want to walk in that calling. The other passion is actually a wellness type one, going from being a type 2 diabetic down to being out of that number, because of lifestyle changes. And I say out of that number and not cure because I cannot put just sugar in my body because it's still going to react. But I manage it, through life. So I'm passionate about that. And the third passion you asked me is actually working with leadership teams and helping them to be better leaders, engaging with their staff, customers, communication, trust, all about that. And that I kind of carried over with me from my past job, but I just love that.
That is
So,
so awesome. Well, you have three great areas to focus on.
yeah.
Finding your passion, so that transition possibly from career,
Hmm.
and the wellness area because you're the walking the talk. My sister has diabetes, and to go from, insulin, et cetera, to where you are, and leadership. So depending on whether you work with a company such as Amalavita or do this on your own, um, with Amalavita, many of the coaches do find a niche, their health and wellness, and life or
Okay.
leadership. So it depends on where you want to go with your coaching, doing it on your own, which I did for many years,
Yeah.
and or
Hey, and if you're asking me like that question, I really kind of want to work part time with a company because sometimes they may have a model that will enhance my skills even more, and as well as being a steadier stream of income, while I also build my one on one where I can do some group coaching and working and building programs. So, yes, I want to do a hybrid. I really do want to work with another company because I think there are advantages beyond monetary for that.
I totally get that and agree. So I would just get started, get coaching. I don't know if you're working with people already, and you will find your way. These three might be prominent right now, but there may be one or two of them that really stand out for you. I wouldn't even be concerned with that. It sounds like you're very clear.
Oh, well, thank you, Cindy, because I feel like I'm here and there, but thank you for that. I think the life coach banner is the better one for me to actually brand by because it does give me a little more flexibility on it.
Best wishes to you. I think you're well on your way.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you
Well,
so much for the question, Liz.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Diane. One second.
Hello.
hi, Diane.
Hi.
Happen to know Diane, so I'm so happy you're here. She's an amazing
Thank you.
mosaic artist. I don't know if that's behind you, something you've created.
Oh, no, this is just a room divider, but isn't it lovely?
Beautiful. Good to see you. What's your
Thank
question,
you.
honey?
Well, my question is, Cindy mentioned that I'm an artist and I've had some very wonderful, fortuitous progress in my career. And I've had some very high level, large scale, very visible projects happening, which is really, really wonderful. I feel like, my passion is happening. And my question regarding that is, I'm always working. You know, the kind of art I do, mosaic and sculpture, is very labor intensive, plus the paperwork, plus I teach all over North America. So how do I balance my self-care? My spiritual life, my physical and mental are all very important to me. And I feel like it gets sort of lost.
Totally get that. And that is so common, so common. So one of the things that's interesting in my second book about transcending, actually it was my diagnosis of cancer, but really it was about a path to optimal well-being and life balance, work-life balance. One of the ways I might start is to look at your physical, emotional, mental, and you mentioned spiritual goals, and start to write them out. Really get conscious of, my intentions in those areas. So for example, on any of those, maybe pick one of those right now. What would you say was one of your goals?
To have quiet time to meditate and dream and, focus on that part of myself.
That's great. So there is getting conscious of your goals, obviously, and putting a spotlight on them and looking at your schedule to see how you can fit that in. So if you were to meditate, at least 5 days a week, what time of the day would be optimal for you?
Morning.
Okay. And would it be possible to get up maybe a half hour earlier and get that done?
Yes, possible, probable. I'm not so sure about that.
Sure. With your current,
But yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's one possibility. With your current schedule, what do you see might be possible to fit that in?
Well, that is a possibility. There are certain days of the week where I teach early in the day, but for the most part, I do have some pockets of time in the morning.
Right.
And getting up a little bit earlier would probably not be as hard as I think it would be.
Right. So that's one thing. The other thing, and I think what's great about coaching, or if you're not going to do coaching, having somebody that you're accountable to, right? So with my clients, for example, we'll define those goals and then I'll give them an assignment and have them tell me how many times a week are you committed to doing that and not overstretch. So if I were coaching you, Diane, right now, how many times a week do you think you'd like to start meditating that you really think is possible?
I would say 4.
Good. And when you commit to 4, because we know how important the integrity of our word is and how much power that gives us, right? When we do keep our word. When you look at your week, does it feel like no matter what, 4 times a week, I can do it?
I think that's fair. Yeah, I could agree to that.
That commitment. Yeah. Okay, great. Would it be useful to you either with a coach or having someone in your life that you make that commitment to and they hold you accountable, or at least they're out there knowing that that's what you're committed to?
Yeah, absolutely. That certainly does work for me.
So I would think about that in terms of these goals. I would think of what are your goals physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? What action can I take in each of those areas? How can I be accountable, make a commitment? And that's kind of how I would work with you on them. Does that make sense? And then step by step, baby step by baby step, we start implementing, doing those practices, and all of a sudden there is that work-life balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It actually seems possible.
That's good. That's good. Great.
Yeah.
anything else about that? I don't know how Justice will tell me how much time we have, but are there any, I always ask, are there any yeah buts? What I mean by that are the mind pops in and might block your achieving that goal.
Mhm. That's a good question. At this point, I'm not seeing any.
You're ready.
Yeah, there are pockets of time in the mornings that I could work with. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm willing to go for that. Yeah.
Good. And I would look at those other areas too, because the more,
Mhm.
those are all areas you're working on. And if you take one baby step in each area, be accountable, all of a sudden you'll look back and there's more and more of the work-life balance you're looking for.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's definitely where I'm at right now. It's like, okay, let's just focus on this one thing, see how that goes.
And that's okay.
And then, yeah.
That's okay. That's good.
Mhm.
Aw,
Great.
thank you, Diane. I'm so glad to see you, and thank you for asking the question.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
For those of you who tuned into us a little bit later into the event, this is a free live coaching hour. If you have any questions, we just ask that you raise your hand, and then I will pick people one by one to come up and ask their question to Cindy. So with that being said, we don't have any hands raised at the moment. Oh, there we go. Hello, this is Quinn. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Give me 1 second to spotlight you.
It's Chin. Sounds like CHIN.
Okay, you can come off mute. It's not letting me spotlight you, but you can come off the mute and ask your question whenever you're ready. Are you there? Okay, I'm gonna go-
Carrie. I
Yes,
see
go ahead.
Carrie.
Yep, I'll go to Carrie.
Hi,
Hello.
Carrie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Another familiar face. This is awesome.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm at
Sure.
work, so
What kind of
hopefully no one
question?
interrupts me.
Yes.
Okay, so I've been trying to do some clearing. I'm feeling really blocked in some ways, and I've been trying to do some clearing. And I'm not feeling it. Can you kind of walk me through the whole clearing process again? I know you've done this a million times for me.
No, this is such a great question. And then we'll look at your specific thing, but just for everyone, my particular method or formula that I've created a long time ago in my coaching, I call it the clear, connect, create. Just in a nutshell, if you think about planting a beautiful garden of roses, in the garden, there generally are weeds, and it's very difficult to plant roses on top of weeds. The reason I say this is that we think of the things in our life that we want to achieve, and yet we have limiting beliefs, fears, history. I am a big weeder in my coaching. I work with people to clear those weeds so that you can plant your seeds of your intentions and your goals and your actions and make it happen. So Carrie has worked with me before, and she has a question about clearing. So Carrie, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to ask you, what specifically are you wanting to clear? So give me some specific thing, and then we'll work on how we would clear it.
Not trusting people right now. Not listening to my gut. I have not done that. And it's like weighing on me because I'm allowing people to lie to me. And that's not the right wordage. That's a word. But it's like I have gut feelings and I'm ignoring them. And I know I'm ignoring them in the moment. I'm like, I know I'm ignoring this.
Yes,
But I really want to get that out
I
and
get
start with, a nice unweeded garden.
it. This is, there's many things I'm hearing here. I'm hearing the not trusting, and you said anyone, so it's fairly broad. I'm sure there's people in your life you do trust, but very broad. It's got some what I call charge to it. So it sounds like it's stuff from the past that we're bringing into the present, which we all do. And I'm not trusting my gut feeling. So let's start with the gut feeling because it's a little simpler, and then talk about clearing some of the history. So the gut feeling, here is a simple technique. One I really have found very valuable. When there's someone that you don't trust, but you're questioning yourself about it, it sounds like you're doing that. Take your hand, place it on your heart, close your eyes, and ask yourself the question, you know, can I trust this person? Whatever the question is that's coming up, you know, is what they're saying true? And really begin to build your intuition and your own knowing, because you do get a gut feeling and you're not following it. So that's another whole piece. But just to check in with yourself, is this true, not true, etc. So try that, because our heart knows, not so much our head. I always say from the neck up, that has certain uses, but our heart is really connected with our intuition, right? So that may be helpful. The other thing, Carrie, that I'm hearing is if you're really feeling like I can't trust anyone, I would work with you, and I can't do it in, you know, the 5 minutes we have, but I would work with you on making a list, literally going back and making a list of all the different scenarios, all the different people that you haven't felt like you could trust. Those sound like they're still with you. Is that true, Carrie?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, this would be some, you know, big clearing, real big roots in the weeds that we really need to get out. Because, you know, I often say with that clearing, they're like weeds. And if we just pick the top off, which many of us do, you know, the simple stuff, the roots are still there. And like dandelions, they grow back. So who is the biggest, you know, who in your life, who would you say in your life was the one person that really betrayed your trust? Do you feel to say that right now?
It's not so much one person that I could pinpoint right now,
Okay.
but there's been a recent one that I actually caught this person in a lie to my face.
Okay.
And there was no reason to lie about it.
I get it. My biggest suggestion, simple for everyone, is write a letter to that person. Do not send it right now, but get out all your feelings, everything you can't say to them, and start to clear it. And then it's a process of doing that with the others. And there's some other tools and techniques, but those are two that I can give you: the heart and the connecting with your gut and your intuition, and writing a letter and expressing. But I'd love to go more into this with you, but again, we're limited a little bit on time.
Yeah, that's
Is
fine.
that helpful?
It's a start. Yeah. And I'll connect with you on individual.
Good.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thanks
your
for
question.
being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now we have Chin. I apologize for mispronouncing your name earlier.
It's fine. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Hi, Cindy.
Hello. And you're pronounced Chin, like chin?
Not
That's
for the
easy.
hair of your chinny chin chin.
I
Yes,
love it. Nice to meet you. Where are you calling from?
Chicago.
Oh, okay, great. That's the home of Ama La Vida.
Yeah. So Cindy, I really wanted to get your perspective. I'm trying to make it short. I have this friend who I have known for 20 years. He's actually somewhat of a leader in the community that I have been in. So I looked up to him for a long time. But recently, in the past few years, he really got, I think it's his insecurity and negativity that's really coming out, to the point that some of my really good friends are to some degrees avoiding him, and we all kind of get together and complain about him. I don't want to get stuck in that phase. I don't think that's who I am. But I just have this gut feeling of not wanting to connect with him, just kind of pushed away, repelled by how negative he is, and just all the emotion things around him. And this is me pushing myself out to be like, here's my vulnerability. I wanted to hear what you think and what kind of questions you have to help me think through this.
Sure. I'm just jotting down a few things because there are a couple different aspects of this. So my first question would be, is this someone that you're close with, like you need to be connected with? Like, tell me a little bit more about the relationship.
Sure. We got really close throughout the years. So he confided a lot of things on me. And I think in his head, we still have that close relationship, but not for me.
Okay.
I'm not getting inspirations and growth out of him.
Okay. Is this someone that might be open, if you were to share in a constructive way what you're seeing about this sort of change in him?
I think yes and no. I have thought about that. Another friend of mine had talked to him about it, but this might be my excuse. I also felt he's in a pretty vulnerable mental state. If I truly be open about how I feel about him, it may push him over the edge. I don't know, but that's my concern.
I get it. If you were able to speak to him and possibly contribute to him or support him, would that be something that you would want to do?
I think that's a really good question. Part of me just want to cut the cord.
Okay.
Because I don't want to carry a burden with me. Once you are in that together, you really have to, I can't just have a conversation and say bye. I have to help him to work through that, right? So I feel part of me doesn't want to take on that responsibility.
I understand. So what I'm hearing is a choice to possibly get some support in how to communicate and possibly not take on the responsibility, but offer some solutions or resources if you choose, or realize this isn't some energy I want to be around. And I noticed that you called it being vulnerable, which was interesting to me, versus maybe self-care. So I'm just curious about the vulnerable.
I think you are really right on. When I say vulnerable, is I recognize some of the choices out there, including the ones that you are talking about, involves me being vulnerable and getting beyond what I'm comfortable with, right? So for example, you were talking about having a conversation with him. I don't like conflicts. And so that's what I meant by being vulnerable. And I also have to open up my process to him, my struggle to him. And I think that's vulnerability too.
I get it. I wish we had, this is frustrating for me because I'd love to spend much more time with you on this. But what I would say to you is this: consider, maybe write out for yourself the pros and cons of each choice, correct? So if I could get comfortable with, and what could be some resources I might recommend to him, and how could I communicate in the kindest way? Or maybe I'm ready for self-care, and maybe this is an opportunity to learn more about having boundaries and taking care of myself, and knowing that these are the kind of people I want to be around and these aren't. So I would just start with journaling about each option. I know that's not the full answer, but that would be a start. Does that help?
Yeah, I think you are right. I do need to make that decision of, do I stay? Do I cut the cord? And what are the ramifications, and actually be okay moving forward, knowing full on.
And last, yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, lastly, I would say just, and I would suggest this with any concern, get it out of the head and put it on paper, literally write it out, and you'll have more clarity. I think more solutions can come that way.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome, Chin. Thank you.
Thank you so much for asking the question, Chin. All right, next up, it looks like we have Yovan.
Oh, Yovan. Hello there.
Hi, I hope you can see me.
I can. You're in that wonderful
Perfect.
swing.
Yes. So I do have a question, and it's more relationship related, but again, it's, I kind of internalize it, and I think it's more like a self-love as well question. I have had trust issues pretty much in my personal / romantic relationship ever since my first relationship sort of ended, and it was quite a long time ago. And throughout the years, I felt like I've carried that into all my other relationships subconsciously, because I always felt like, and I'm very well aware that that person is not the same as like previous person.
Right.
Right now, I've been with my partner for quite a long time, and there were moments where I was quite aware. I was quite aware that the trust issues are on me, not on my partner, and on what my partner does.
Right.
So I was wondering, and that has become a roadblock in our relationship. And I'm just wondering, what are the ways that I can start to shed those trust issues, because they do hinder our growth?
I love this question, because I've recently experienced it myself. I'm newly married and was in a long-term relationship before this, and started noticing I was bringing the past into the present, right?
Yes.
One of the things, I actually have a coach myself, and one of the things they help me with that I think is so valuable is to look at how your current partner, the qualities of that current partner versus the person that you had that issue with, of trust, right? Literally looking very clearly at, and even listing. And I started doing that. I'm with a trustworthy, responsible, grounded, whatever those things are. So they're front and center.
Right.
So that might be helpful. Does that sound like something?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I think it will be very helpful, because I almost found myself, and I'm really working hard, like not to stop it, to the point where it has become like a subconscious thing, where I would almost search to justify my trust issues and pinpoint it on my partner.
Sure.
Even though I know that that's not them, it's me. I would still, but well, you did this and you lied about that. But then I'm like, why am I doing this?
Right.
This is not right.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where those weeds come in. If we haven't really cleared them completely, we may think we have. I thought I had. And all of a sudden, years later, I'm superimposing this person on this person, not fair to this person, right? One thing I would recommend is to go back and look at whether it's this person, or it even goes back further, sometimes with our family of origin or other partners. I would look at those situations and what you still are incomplete about, meaning what is the similar pattern? What's the similar belief? What's the, memories? And do some clearing on those individuals, even though you think they're complete. So again, I know I said this before, I love the letter writing. The letter writing to the person and not send it is a great way. You can even look at what the limiting beliefs are, like, so interesting, trust keeps coming up with the other Carrie, and as such a big thing, because we have been betrayed in our life, and it's very traumatic. It really is. So do some listing, do some soul searching, do some, what maybe you need to communicate with someone from the past, but identify what the limiting belief is or fear, and look and see, is that even true with this person? Do that test of, is this actually real, or is this some story I'm making up from the past? Does that sort of help?
Absolutely. And I think you're right on about that. I think that it's something that it requires a lot more time and a lot more digging deep and a lot of regression to kind of get to the point. But I think it's a lot. I just need to commit to it, actually, because I've kind of been postponing it due to responsibilities. Talking to yourself and spending time with yourself takes time and effort.
It does. It does.
I need to make it a much bigger commitment than I've done so far.
And not to sell coaching, but to have someone possibly to keep you accountable to do it and support you in fleshing out what action steps you can take to heal the past and not superimpose it on this partner.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
One more quick thing about this partner that might help. Write down 3 things that are great about him or that you love about your partner every day, and see if instead of all those negative thoughts, you can focus on those.
That's a good one. I love that. I'm going to start doing that. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. I love that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions? We still have some time here. How are you feeling, Cindy?
I'm feeling great. I love the questions, and I hope more people ask. Don't be shy. We're here, and love to help you. If anybody's got anything.
Actually, I'll jump in with one while we, give some people.
Wonderful.
So I feel as though a lot of the times I'm just going through the motions of things. I just feel that there's a lack of just purpose around everything. Not that anything in particular is lacking. Work is well, relationships are well, healthy, it feels like there's just something missing, and I don't actually know what it is. I just feel like there's more that I'm just missing out on. I don't understand where to come about that.
I totally get that. And you know what? Purpose, I think, is what brings aliveness and passion to our life. I love coaching, and so that's what gets me up in the morning, fulfills me. So I love that you asked this, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. So let me ask you some questions to start evoking what could be purpose. So it's interesting with what the work that you do. I'm wondering what about it feels like your help. Well, would you say one of your purposes, knowing you, is making a difference in the lives of others? Is that something that is part of what drew you to doing what you're doing? Or tell me about that. I don't mean to.
Yes, actually, I love getting to have just like this, like having different conversations with all different types of people and being able to help facilitate them onto the right path. It definitely feels fulfilling, like helping other people. So absolutely.
And do you have that in other areas of your life with friends or family, or does that seem like a big part of it?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. So when you look at, if you were talking to someone and you weren't feeling how you're feeling right now, what would you say, do you think at this point in your life is your biggest purpose?
That's a fantastic question, and I'm not 100% sure I know the answer to at the moment.
Okay. Have you ever felt really clear about your purpose in your life? Have you ever been able to voice it, or has anyone ever asked you and you were like, yes?
Honestly, no.
Okay. Could it be that maybe your you have a great purpose, but you're not consciously aware of it. Is that possible?
Yeah, I do think that's a big part of it.
You know, it's funny as I hear you and I know what you do with Ama La Vida. I mean, not trying to put words in your mouth, but you might want to journal about the areas of your life that light you up. Sometimes they're very different. Like you were telling me earlier when we were prepping for this call that you went to that great concert. And I don't know if you organized it or whatever, but maybe make a list of what does give you joy? What does put a smile on your face during work hours, during play, with family, with friends? Is there anything that comes to mind with that?
I really just love spending time with other people. Truly.
And what about that?
I just think I just love being with other people's energy and just kind of just engaging.
Okay. And engaging, you've mentioned a couple of times because you love having great conversations. What are your favorite types of conversations? What
I really like,
what?
I really like hearing like what excites other people.
Okay.
They just light up and then they're more engaged in the conversation. So it makes it just a more pleasant interaction.
Right. So given during the day, you're helping people by making a difference to help them, empower them to achieve their goals and be happier in life and love life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in your social life, you get lit up when people are really excited about something or have a passion. Or in what ways do you support the friends and family in your life? How do you help them?
Just always being there, being reliable. I think I'm definitely someone that my friends and family know they can rely on. So just being encouraging, someone always in their corner, I would say.
I want to give you an assignment. And that, by the way, is something I do and all the coaches do action steps, or I call them sometimes assignments in between coaching sessions. I'd like you to write about, number one, what lights you up, and keep a list of, you know, like you get off a call and you're really excited. What about that lit you up? You go out socially and you have a great conversation. What about that? That's one thing. And also, I mean, you make a difference in people's lives. Could that possibly be the passion? And how can you expand that outside of what you're already doing? So can you think of any way you could expand that outside of what you're already doing? I know you're very busy, but I'm just curious.
At this moment in time, no, but I think starting to write things down, it'll become more clear.
Okay, good. And one other thing for you, Justice, because it sounds like your fire is just a little dim, so to speak, and you know, and your spirit is just feeling a little not that excited, I'm going to give you one of my tools, a daily dose of happy. Okay, because I know you work really hard, and that sometimes can suppress our passion or our excitement about life. I want you to make a list of at least 5 things that really make you happy, and almost like a prescription, right? Your daily dose is to do one of those things each day. They could be very simple. They could be, you know, for me, it's like bubble bath with candles or buy flowers, but whatever it is for you. Because it just sounds like part of it is your energy is low. So how can we get your energy higher and then open you up to how you may already be doing your purpose, and what does that look like, and just what else could I do to expand it? Does that help at all?
Absolutely, thank you. And then I did
This is
see
a longer conversation though, which we need to
absolutely
have.
perfect. Well, thank you so much, Cindy.
Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in here? Do we have time?
Yep, we do have time. And then it looks like we have Libby now.
Oh, hi, Libby.
I'm hitting all the wrong buttons, Cindy.
I see you and I hear you.
I see you too. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. So a little bit of like context. I am a new mom. My daughter is 10 months old. And where to start? And I'm working, so I have a full-time job, and I have a fantastic husband, and he's just the sweetest, and he cares so much, and he loves us so much, and he loves our daughter and all these things. But and I'm bringing this to you particularly because I know you, Cindy, that you love helping with relationships. So one of the things that's been coming up for him and I is just trying to think of how to say it. I've been surprised is maybe a good way to say that we're defaulting to much more traditional gender roles in raising our daughter than I was expecting. So he's much, not that he's not involved, because I would never want to say he's not, but he's not nearly as involved or as proactive in taking care of her as maybe I thought he would be. And it's leaving a lot of the childcare on my plate, which I love. My daughter's phenomenal. She's a wild woman. I love spending time with her, but I'm doing a lot of the work, and I find myself getting resentful, and I don't want to be resentful because I love him and I think he's a great dad.
Right.
And yeah, and I'm regularly asking, and can you do this and can you do that, and what about this and what about that? And he will, but sometimes he'll get burned out and he'll be like, I need a break. You're always asking me to do things. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't be asking if you would just do them. So trying to balance, like, I just don't have any time for self-care whatsoever. So
Get it.
that's where I'm at. Would love your
Totally.
thoughts.
There's two pieces here. There's what's going on with
Mhm.
you about your husband, which we definitely
Mhm.
want to nurture that already wonderful relationship and not let it,
Yeah.
And two, there's your self-care. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. And this is, pretty broad. So I'll be, give a few little things. Okay. One of the things probably that pops up for me is communication, how and when you're doing it. And because in the heat of the need, it's not working really well. And so I was just coaching someone today on their relationship, and I suggested something, and they've been doing it for 2 weeks. It's really working. I would suggest that you get very clear about your desired results, about how you would like to see it happen. I would write it out, okay? Very, very clearly. I'd like to be handling these things. I'd love for him to handle these things. Really, really clear. Of course, it's going to change in time and weeks and such, but you have some requests, and they're not working to do in the heat of the moment, right? Then I might suggest implementing a weekly scheduled communication session with your husband, okay? This works so well with relationships, especially if you're super busy and it's like, oh, we're running and we're trying to talk and And ask for that, like 9 o'clock Sunday morning, whenever maybe your daughter's is resting, whatever.
She doesn't rest.
Well, she might be in the background. Set up some ground rules of speaking and listening. When you're speaking, he's quiet, because that can be a problem. That's a whole other thing of defending and, overriding. Communicate. I also say start with a positive communication. I love that you're doing this, this, and this. And this is really about enhancing our relationship and making everything work, not, any negative. And from that positive place, these are my requests. How can we work together to have this work? I would really suggest that. And maybe can we have a weekly check-in at a scheduled time about what's working, what's not working, requests, etc. Does that feel like possible?
Yeah, I really love what you said about getting to desired results because I think that would really help him. We have one of the many things that's great about him is we fight really well and we're not nasty, we're not yelling at each other or anything like that, which is great. So
Yeah.
I think having him something he's working towards instead of everything he's doing wrong would probably go a long way.
Totally. And men especially need a lot of acknowledgement. We all need a lot of acknowledgement, but men, I think, like to produce, right? So they need that you're doing this and this and this great. These are my requests. You might also write them out and hand them to him and then discuss them. So how you know how he works best, but that would be really great. In terms of your self-care, that's probably a whole other conversation. I don't know how much time we have, but I'd love to have it with you. Maybe write down a couple things that are important to you and see if you can schedule them as an appointment that's as non-negotiable to not do, and set up, whether it's childcare, whatever, but an appointment like you do with your clients or you do with your work. This is time for a massage, a facial, a walk with a girlfriend, whatever, and start scheduling.
Always the good tips, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Livy. So we don't at the moment have anybody with any more questions at the moment. I'm gonna give people a few more minutes. I'm also gonna drop our website link if anybody wants to go learn a little bit more about us as a company. You can see some of the other coaches that we have, and you can also book a time to speak with me there. So there's our website for you. And then if anyone has any interest in seeing any of our past webinars or upcoming events, I'm also going to drop our YouTube and our Eventbrite link one more time in case anybody needs that. But if no one has any other questions, Cindy, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave with the group or anything that you'd like to mention?
I just want to say, whether it's me or any of the coaches at Alma La Vida, I've worked on my own for many years, but I love Alma La Vida because it has coaches that have expertise in many different areas. I do what I do. Some are career, life, health, etc. But this is just such a tiny little bit of what we do. We do a plan, we do accountability, we do assignments. You have, 45-minute sessions and so much more in depth. This was just like a little taste, but I thank everyone for being here. And, I really support you in whatever your goals are and achieving them. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Cindy. And our follow-up email will have the recording to this. And so if everyone wants to go back and rewatch it, we'll also have the links to Cindy's books in there as well, if you want to check out either of the books that she's written. But with that being said, it looks like we are all good to go here. We'll give back a few minutes in everyone's day, but we really appreciate you being here. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you,
Cindy. Love you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.